long time. But this channel initially was created with the purpose, and we're going to go over what that purpose was. So I have uploaded many shorts, one of which included Rod Serling, which currently has like 100k views, which is insane. Absolutely insane. We're going to go over that video in a second. But today's topic is wokeness, and I kind of wanted to address this. We're going to start out by watching this video, and I'm going to go over some comments I received from it. So this is pulled from a historical movie. It is about the crisis in Levittown. In fact, the documentary is called Crisis in Levittown, where basically this group went in and interviewed a bunch of people because a black family had moved into the neighborhood. So let's watch this clip.
William Myers Jr. and his family are Negroes in an all-white community. Rumor and gossip sweep through the community.
Oh, I heard lots of rumors. I was busy telling people not to believe them.
What kind?
Well, that they'd been sponsored. Chiefly, I think people resented, after they heard this rumor and believed it, they resented feeling that some outside group had deliberately moved these people in, that they were sponsored and paid by an outside group to do this very thing.
Levittown reacted in a number of ways to the new arrivals. There were several hundred who congregated on the street in front of the Myers house. And there were those among them who felt strongly enough to throw a rock through the picture window.
So these people were in fear, and the rumor is essentially that these people had moved into the town just to propagate integration, that they were that in fear of being around black people that they had to gossip and just say that these people didn't simply just want to live around us in our neighborhoods, they were here to push an agenda. Isn't that crazy? Now this asshole here, which I've commented this comment before, horrible news. Home prices decrease, crime increases, many facts this old reaction. They threw a rock through their fucking window. There was literal mobs. And somebody is trying to make this outrageous response sound reasonable in the 2020s. This was a year ago. So it got crazy. I responded. The crime increased because white people started throwing rocks through windows, vandalizing property, committing crimes, and blaming black people for it because they didn't like black people. Plain and simple. What? Keep telling yourself that? What? Oh my God. Keep telling yourself that. What in the hell is this gaslighting? What is this gaslighting? Like, what? That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And, you know, the crazy part is they actually found that black people moving into the neighborhood in the 1950s, you can look this up, in the 60s, excuse me, property values increased because the people, the black, you know, the diverse neighborhoods, because the people that were of color, so to speak, were willing to pay more for property simply just to have it than white people, because white people was pretty accessible to get these properties. For black people, they were often pushed out or priced out. So that's how you got higher property values, simply because of racism. Plain and simple. And I just kind of want to go over some of my historical shorts and the impact of like some of the comments that I've just received. It's like honestly baffling and quite egregious. Let me see if I can get to my channel. YouTube Studio, view your channel. There we go. Great. Well, I know the live's working. I don't know about if we have any comments right now. I cannot see the live chat. It's just gonna have to roll with it. And yeah, throughout my history of working on this, it's been a lot of historical shorts. The one that got popular though is Rod Serling's response to outrage or cancel culture. And I also posted this one right here covering racism. Only 2.3 thousand views. By using cancel culture in the title.
Roughly 11 or 12 months ago, on the Lassie show, Lassie was having puppies. And I have two little girls, then aged 5 and 3, who were greatly enamored of this beautiful collie. And they watched the show with great interest. And Lassie gave birth to puppies. And Mike, it was probably one of the most tasteful and delightful and warm things depicting what is this wondrous thing that is birth. The sort of thing I'd love my kids to watch, to show them what is the birth process and how marvelous it is. They got many, many cards and letters sample card from the Deep South, this was. If I wanted my kids to watch sex shows, I wouldn't have had them turn on that. I could take them to burlesque shows. And as a result of the influx of mail, many of the cards, incidentally, as Sheldon tells it, were postmarked at identical moments, all in the same handwriting, but each was counted as a singular piece of mail. And as a result, the directive went down that there would be no shows having anything to do with puppies.
So with this one, it's kind of about the religious extremists, so to speak. You know, the people that were outraged in the South. But it used the term cancel culture, and I guess people loved it. They shared it around. Now, the other video of Rod Serling that I posted, I felt like the message was more impactful, more interesting.
I think the purpose, the point of a dramatic show, which is used as a vehicle of social criticism, is to involve an audience, to show them wherein their guilt lies, or at least indeed their association. But when you're talking about a bunch of cavalrymen knocking off a bunch of poor redskins and putting them into a reservation, the audience need to have no association, certainly no guilt. How many Indians have they pushed into a reservation? But if indeed you talk about a denial of a man putting his garbage can next to yours, whether he's fought in Vietnam or wherever, by virtue of his color, now you're getting into a universal guilt, which they should feel, or at least in part understand.
This is one of the most critically acclaimed writers of all time, creator of The Twilight Zone, talking about how having social or political commentary is necessary in movies and films, especially when talking about sensitive topics like discrimination and race. But nowadays, we see such a divide on this issue of just simply having characters that are traditionally portrayed as white now being race swapped to black. Everybody loses their mind. When it comes to social or political commentary, everybody loses their mind. But this guy right here, one of the most critically acclaimed writers from the 1960s, this is decades ago, a long time ago, in a time that was more polarized than now, is saying that social and political commentary in film is a necessity. But, you know, I guess the video that was about quote-unquote cancel culture, you know, that happened to be religious extremists that probably would more so align to what the right is today. Maybe the Dixiecrats back then, who knows what they were. If it was even of them, it could have just been one person trying to imitate hundreds. Like, it's essentially like somebody who creates a social media account and then creates a bunch of burners to generate outrage or post hate comments. Like, it's literally no different. Like, to me, this is like baffling. The fact that the response to this is just like, you know. The response to the other one, it was generating a ton of attention. And I've posted plenty of historical shorts over and over again, covering race. Well, I don't see folks rushing to Chicago, LA, and New York City, so you're scared of minorities. That's what you're telling me. You're scared of minorities. You're scared of black people because apparently they're the people that commit crimes. Like, you aren't going to look into the history of redlining, segregation, discrimination in the workplace, and why we had things like affirmative action to begin with and why it was needed. None of that is relevant. Like, to this person, none of that is real. It's all fake. It's all fraudulent. It's like they can't even contemplate like a generational trauma or something that could impact people. Like segregation, if the Holocaust can have impact on a whole group of people and cause generational trauma, then certainly segregation can. Because many people that had like parents that went through segregation are still alive today, and generational wealth has an impact on families, so to speak. So you're more likely to be impoverished due to the fact of having grown up in poor communities that were probably gentrified, but you know, some of you don't even know what that means or haven't even bothered to research any of it. Like, honestly, it's crazy.
Could not live beside them. I don't feel that they should be oppressed. But I moved here. One of the main reasons was because it was a white community. And that's the only place I intend to live. If I have to leave Levittown, I will do so.
For some Levittowners, the basic issues involved had nothing to do with intermarriage or property values, loss of status, fear of crime, neighborhood decline, or being in the minority. They saw it as a test of democracy. What was your reaction to the Myers moving in?
Well, I was happy to see this become more of an American community.
Well,
That's crazy. I love that response. I'd like to see this become more of an American community. So many people would have been really upset about that. So many people. Let's see. Got video.
You don't ask me if a black cop should shoot looters. A policeman is a policeman, no matter the color. Now, whether a policeman should shoot looters is the question.
To be a policeman, it takes a certain kind of person. And my own personal opinion is that they usually are brutal. They like the instant authority that comes with the badge and the uniform.
They were talking about this way back then. Like, this is predates George Floyd. I mean, this is like MLK, Malcolm X time.
I would suspect that, as was brought out in the paper, the white cops felt that civilians didn't have the sophistication or expertise to evaluate police conduct. This is just the reason why I think I favor it. I believe in civilian control of military and police institutions. I think we tread on dangerous ground when the civilian can't control these organizations.
You don't ask me if
Interesting. So civilians should have some control on who's policing their communities. That's an interesting take. Interesting. That one's just a fun video. President assassinated. Let's see, New Moon. What's this one?
William Myers Jr. and his family are Negroes in an all-white community. Rumor and gossip sweep through the community.
Oh, I heard lots of rumors. I was busy telling people not to believe them.
What? In the absence of fact and authoritative information on a situation like this, rumor and gossip sweep through the community. Have you heard any rumors?
I had heard several rumors, of which that I have just taken as rumors go. But the one that bothered me most was the fact that the Myers family has moved in to several all-white sections and trying to be the first colored family to move in, to start the other ones to come in, that they have done this before. Now, I believe that if they do come here to cause trouble, then I'm against what they're doing, their principle. But if they're just trying to find a better place to live and to bring up their children, then I'm for them.
In the absence of fact and...
The problem is that, based on the comments that we've seen in these videos, people still believe that people are moving into towns or just to cause trouble. Like, that's what it seems, is where there's minorities, there's crime. That's wild. So racism doesn't exist. The problem is wokeness. Yeah, totally. Makes sense, am I right? Everything's starting to register. I don't understand. Like, the amount of gaslighting I have seen around this issue is crazy. I've heard people say that racism is dead. It's no longer a problem. I don't see color. But the problem is there's very much a lot of people that do see color, and like it or not, that includes you. Because humans naturally stereotype and categorize people. That's just what happens. It's not good. But naturally, like, if you see a black person, your brain's gonna think that's a black person. Like it or not, you do see color. It is what it is. But yeah, racism is wrong, and it is something that we need to point out. We need to be fair to each other, and we need to assess people properly and not just assume that where there's black people, there's crime. And the fact that I even receive comments like that at all, and the fact that none of these videos generates traction, but the one with cancel culture generates traction, when they're like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, the one was also covering the same person, Rod Serling. Just doesn't generate the track, I couldn't get it going, the one on racism. But the one about, I guess a Christian lunatic going nuts. I'm a Christian myself, by the way. That one's the one that took off. Just simply probably influenced by just the word cancel culture. Probably fed that into the algorithm quite well. But I have all these examples of just blatant racism, and the comments of which I have received on some of these come to show racism is real and still a problem. So that's basically the gist of why I created, why of Joe to Go at the moment. I mean, the channel itself was created like over 10 years ago, and I was just a kid uploading gaming videos. But I think as long as this lives, it's an educational resource, so to speak. And the main topic that I've mostly covered is racism, because I do think that people need to acknowledge it, and it does need to be addressed. And instead of just people deflecting and gaslighting over these issues, there needs to be a consensus that we got a problem. And yeah, the gaslighting is going to continue. And I don't think that even showing people these comments is necessarily, because it's the internet. You can pass things off as just someone leaving comments just trolling. But I very much have come across people in my life, like real life, that have hold racist views. I've even come across a white nationalist once in my life in the mid-2010s. So it is definitely possible. These people do exist, and I just wanted to bring it to people's attention. Well, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in, if any did at all. It seems like it's been an empty chat. But you know what? That's okay. Everyone take care, stay safe. I guess I'll see you next time.